Corey, we are finally going to get to see it. We've gotten a couple games of James Harden and Kevin Durant together, and they looked pretty good. And they've looked really good those last couple of games. Now Kyrie Irving comes in, the big three together in Brooklyn. How do you see that fitting together?
I think it's going to be very dangerous for the Eastern Conference, for the NBA in general. The question to me is who's going to play point. And I think it's going to be James Harden because Kyrie, he's one of, I mean, you have three of some of the best isolation guards in basketball playing together, right? But they all know how to score different ways. I've been very surprised to see James Harden being such a great passer, even though I know he did that in Houston, playing alongside KD. I mean, the assists, he's racking up these assists that are just beautiful. He's so unselfish, and I think that's going to lend itself very well to that Nets team. And I think Kyrie is going to be able to get his buckets and in different elements as far as being able to shoot open three ball, or like I said, in a one-on-one ISO. But that the whole offense for me runs through James Harden as the point, and then Kevin Durant as their guy, the number one guy for sure. What do you think?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Durant is your alpha. He is still the guy taking the shot at the end of the game if you can set it up that way. Like, he's the guy you want. I think this can work. I think they'll trade off a little bit handling the ball, but I think it can work. What I'm really curious about fit-wise, I think offensively they're going to be really good. I am curious. Look, they're in a honeymoon period, and you're right. The ball is flying around for them those last couple of games. The ball movement's been great, setting up Joe Harris, who, if Joe Harris is hanging on your weak side, and you've got to focus on these other guys, you've got problems. It's not going to be easy to defend them. I'm curious, though, in like 2 months, when it's Kyrie Irving off the ball because they're running the Harden Durant pick and roll, is he moving to open spaces, or is he sulking in the corner? And I think the same question is legitimate about James Harden, who, look, in Houston when he didn't have the ball a lot, I mean, he was with ball dominant guards and he would sulk. He would just kind of coast through plays. I want to see what this looks like when they get through their honeymoon period. But look, I think the fit's going to be really good, and I think their offense is going to be absolutely. I don't know how you defend. I mean, Milwaukee's a good defensive team that had no answer for two of them on Martin Luther King Day.
Yeah, and what you said, I think, is a really interesting point, right? So after James Harden shot that three ball, which, he doesn't miss open threes. I was shocked that he missed that late in the Bucks game. He got his own rebound, and then guess who he found? Kevin Durant for an open three look again. And that's the whole thing, is there's just too much firepower on this team. When you're talking about a shootout late in the game, who's going to take out the game, close out the game? Who's better than the Nets? I mean, I think of LeBron's clutch DNA. I think of the Warriors as far as being able to come back kids this season. But I mean, my money is on the Nets. If James Harden has an open look, and then the second option is Kevin Durant, and then the third option is Kyrie,
yeah,
come on.
And they're really good already, and they're going to be great at this. They're going to hunt mismatches because nobody can match up with them, right? Like, nobody's going to have enough guys to go, I've got this. Nobody's got three guys to defend them. Nobody. So now we can run pick and rolls. We can hunt mismatches. They did this really well, especially when Drew Holiday was out. I mean, poor Pat Connaughton and Dante DiVincenzo just got roasted for a stretch because they're going to hunt out the mismatches. And that's something they can do late in games because you're not going to have enough guys. And even if you find a way to collapse on everything, again, Joe Harris is over there on the wing, and we're just going to kick it out to him, and he doesn't miss from three. This is going to be a really tough team to defend night in and night out. They've just got so many scoring options.
Well, one thing I think about the Nets is also, it's very important to bring up, is before they had Karis LeVert coming off the bench, who could have started at any NBA team. And as we see, his numbers were incredible this season coming off the bench. They now lack that coming off the bench. But I do think they can learn from the Lakers, and where you have LeBron managing minutes, right? Anthony Davis and LeBron, when they're together, it's just, exceptional basketball. And then LeBron goes to the bench, Anthony Davis takes over the team, and they just have a great little trio with him, Dennis Schroeder, Montrezl Harrell, right? I think you're going to see the same type of thing with Brooklyn, where, you're going to have all three of those stars on the court at the same time, but then you let KD sit a little bit. Now it's just James Harden, Kyrie. Then you let Kyrie sit a little bit. Now it's James and KD. I think you're going to have this really interesting a mixed match of, hey, you have all three of your biggest weapons in the game when you need to close out a game, maybe when you want to start a game, but then you can strategically deploy them to make sure that second unit, which has now a serious lack of depth now, without Allen and without, I know he was starting, but just generally without LeVert, now you have more options with those big three.
You do. You have a lot more options. You can also stagger it to just ones out there. Like, that's the thing. I want to rest Harden and KD for a while. I'm just going to let, hey, Kyrie, go get yours. Harden, I'm resting the other two guys. Go get yours for 5 minutes. Just go rack up points. And they're happy to do it. Like, they're like, oh, hey, I'll go get some points. They know where the bread is buttered. I think for Steve Nash, it's a matter of finding a rotation that keeps everybody happy as long as they can keep it happy. I'm not sure how. That's my one question about this thing. I'm not sure what the timeline is on this big three. We'll see how it goes. But in the short term, I just don't know how you